Hey everyone, this is Fabio and welcome back. Today, I've decided to do something slightly different from usual. This morning I was watching my good friend Leo, the Funny Nerds, pickups video, and one item specifically, one of the movies that he showed, made me think of how much said movies. I don't want to say the title for all of you who still haven't watched his video. That movie is super hyped by critics. It received acclaim left, right, and center. Probably right. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I want to. But that thing let me ponder on the topic I want to talk about today, which can be fun, I think. And that is this is going to be a list. It's not top 10, nothing like that. It's just a bunch of movies that I don't like, and it is going to be fun. I mean, I love movies. I want to talk a bit more about movies on my channel, but I always show movies in my pickups video. I love movies. It's one of my favorite hobbies together with video games. And of course, there are plenty of movies that I don't like. That's normal. But the thing is, I don't want to. I don't think it's a shock list or something like. As I said, it's not a top 10. There's nothing I think too big. I mean, some of these movies are well liked, and some of them are not, absolutely not liked. So it's nothing like my most hated movie, Citizen Kane, Star Wars, which I love by the way, or Jurassic Park, which I love. Just to say like big titles or something like that. It's just like most of this list of things that we like and we don't like, especially like us viewers or gamers. So it's a very subjective thing, and this is what I'm trying to show with this list. I completely lost my train of thought. So I don't want to shock anyone. I mean, I don't think most of these movies, I would say with one exception, most of these movies are not bad, because I'm very open-minded in my definition of what is a good or bad product in terms of movies, video games. I mean, something to be bad, to me, has to be really bad. For example, and as I said, the same thing with movies and video games. To give you a perspective, I think like a bad video game, it's something like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, those kind of like super shit games. I usually ignore for the most part and completely like professional reviewers, critics, because for the most part they don't know what they're talking about. They just have to push things that are going to sell. It's all a big market there. So of course they're going to push things, and I disagree with movies, for example, for very personal reasons. So we'll see what happens. So movies I don't like, definitely leave comments. Let me know what you think about both this list, and especially let me know some movies that you don't like personally, as I said, because this is such a subjective topic. Or make video responses, whatever you prefer and like. This could be very interesting because it's more common, I think, to make lists about movies that we love. And eventually I would like to do the list of my favorite movies or something like this. I'm thinking about it. This can be fun. This should be fun. I own 4 out of 10 movies because, of course, if I don't like a movie, I'm not gonna buy it. With some exceptions. With these, the ones that I can show actually are movies that I saw them, and because of that I didn't like it. It's not that I watched it in cinema once, and then decided I don't like it. So I really tried with some of this, and as I said, 2 of them were kinda bound to lose from the start, but we'll get there. I mean, we'll get to the good stuff by the end. But let's start with the first one. Let's start with one that I can actually show. With this movie, I was excited about it, but I was also kind of I was in a wait and see kind of set mindset with this, because This is a Japanese thing, and of course it was like remade in the West with our mindset in making movies. You might kind of see where I'm going, and the movie is Godzilla. This is 2014, I think. I really didn't know what to think. I kind of never wanted like Western studios to do a Godzilla movie. I mean, I've always like leave it to the Japanese. Who cares if they're just like rubber suit and completely ridiculous, bad shit, crazy movies? Because that's kind of the point. Just watch a Gamera movie from the 60s. There's like some of the most like Gamera versus Virus. It's the squid monster kind of thing. Wow, those movies are crazy. But that's kind of the point. They're insane. And all of a sudden, I mean, it's famous, the 1995, 7, I don't remember, Godzilla movie that, like, Angry Video Game Nerd really didn't like that, and rightly so, it's not a good movie, but a lot of people were excited about this, and a lot of people loved this, and I think it's a mediocre movie, honestly. Especially, it's not a good kaiju movie. I mean, it's not a good Japanese monster movie. The reason why I don't like it, it's like 92% of the movie it's about the humans, and my nose is itching. Sorry about that. Most of the movie it's about the humans. Who the fuck cares about the humans in a Godzilla movie? I think there's all this story of this guy who loses his father in an accident caused by Godzilla. I think it's this. But anyways, like all the soldiers and all of that, like who cares? This is a Godzilla movie. It should be about Godzilla. And those other two monsters, I don't even remember if they have names. Like they're two big monsters, and for the most part, when they finally show the monsters, it's just them walking around. Okay. And the thing that drove me crazy also, they have two teasers of the monster fighting. I was like, yes, finally. Like one was on a TV in the background. Like I don't remember like the scene, but maybe there were like just two people talking. It's like, shut up! They're Godzilla fighting. And the other one, you see the two monsters start fighting, and then a giant door closes. I was like, are you shitting me? The final battle at the end of the movie, where finally they show some monster fighting and kicking the hell out of each other. It's good because what do you expect? It's a 2014 movie with a big budget. It's all CGI, so of course it looks good. I love the way how Godzilla killed the other monster, like the kiss of death or something. That was cool. But overall, I was really disappointed by this. I mean, another proof that Americans, Western people should just ignore this. Leave Godzilla to the Japanese. I know that now, for some reason, there is a bigger audience for these kind of things. Leave it to the Japanese. I really want to see, how's it called, like Shin Godzilla, what coincidentally, like Toho immediately did a sort of video response, a movie response to this, probably out to, like, just to show us this is how you do it. I still need to watch it. Maybe it's garbage. I don't think so. But yeah, as I say, it's not a bad movie, but why call it Godzilla? Because that's almost nothing to do with it. At least there is Godzilla sometimes, so I really didn't like it. Next, it's a movie that I cannot show you because I refused to buy it, and it's The Tree of Life by Terrence Malick. I really didn't like this. I didn't like it. Maybe I should rewatch it if I have to be honest, because I heard people talking really interesting arguments in defense of this movie. I think it's a very divisive movie. I don't know if especially recent movies by Terrence Malick are like that, very divided. But the thing is, it's not that I hate him, because, for example, The Thin Red Line, I think it's one of the best war movies ever made. That movie, it's phenomenal. Highly recommended if you never watch it, if you like World War II movie. Such a great description of the Battle of Guadalcanal, and especially the scene when like the commander officer is going insane. I love it. But unfortunately, we're not talking about the Thin Red Line. But the Tree of Life, I didn't know what to expect from it. I don't say. Remember talking with some friends. It's like, oh, Terrence Malick. Oh, yeah, I remember from the Thin Red Line. I watched this thing. I was like, what is this? The main thing to me, it was so boring, so boring. And up until recently, that's kind of the most boring movie of the 2000s that I watched. If I don't remember much from like early years, but oh my god, it was so boring. And as I said, maybe I should rewatch it, give it a second chance, but I don't want to buy it. And especially, I really don't remember the movie that bad, so I'm not going to bash it too much, but I don't remember why all of a sudden I remember seeing dinosaurs. I mean, the family scenes were all right. I still remember, I really like the scene where there's Brad Pitt, this family, they're at dinner or something, and Brad Pitt is asking to his son, like, pass me the salt. And this little kid like, I don't know, it's nothing to, it's like, it's there, take it. So, something like this. And the way he responds that, what did you just say? I still remember to this day, people in the theater was like, oh, I'm like, oh my god. It was so angry. I was like, that was amazing. I really like that scene actually, but I don't remember most of the movie, so. But I have this vivid memory of don't like it because it was super boring. Maybe I'm completely wrong, maybe I completely missed the point. It's possible, but if a movie is super boring from the beginning to the end, I mean, I usually don't pay too much attention, and that maybe it's just me. And as I said, maybe you love it, and let me know what I missed with the Tree of Life, but it's so boring. Next, I can show you this. Okay, this is a horror, a sequel, one of many in a long, legendary franchise. But of course, this is the, I think it's the 5th movie of the series. That already, okay, let's just show you so I can explain properly. It's George Romero's Diary of the Dead. The second last movie of the Dead franchise by legendary producer George Romero, who unfortunately died recently. We're definitely going to miss George Romero. I absolutely love the Dead trilogy, I might say. So Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead, to me, it's the best horror trilogy ever made. The best zombie movies ever made. I absolutely love those movies. The 4th one, Land of the Dead, I think it's a good follow-up. It's nothing special, especially because I don't remember when that movie was made, maybe in the early 2000s, if I remember correctly. Let me know if I'm wrong. But I think it was because by that point, the zombie genre, it's insanely... I cannot find the right word now. There is an amount of zombie movies. There's so many, and this siren is also distracting me. I cannot find this word now. Nothing. I cannot think about it. That was so bad. I have the word on the tip of my tongue, but there are so many zombie movies that this is it. It's like Land of the Dead. It's completely like lost in the crowd. Even though it's a good zombie movie, it's a lot of fun. It's over the top, insane. But there were just too many. And this is no different. The more we got into 2000, the more zombie movies we got. We also started to have, I think by the time this was out, which doesn't even have a date, I think maybe Walking Dead was already out. Maybe I might be wrong again. And also with this, Romero was trying something different, and it's kind of, you see from the point of view of the protagonist that we're all like constantly moving with a camera, taking like filming what's going on. It's kind of interesting, but I remember like the characters are so bland and uninteresting. That girl from Texas, it's so boring. Every time she does something, oh, don't mess with Texas. It's like, first time, alright. The 17th time is like, alright. The cool thing about this movie is the mute Amish farmer. That was a lot of fun. I think it's from this one. I'm pretty sure. It's not from the Survival of the Dead. But as I said, there you go. It's an oversaturation, for fuck's sake. I couldn't remember it. There is a huge oversaturation of zombie movies in the 2000s, and this is completely... it's the weakest of the entire series. I mean, Survival of the Dead, again, it's nothing special. It's the last one. Land of the Dead, it's a lot of fun again. But this, I don't know. Also, the whole message about media that was trying to make at the end, okay. But I don't know. I think it could have been so much better because the idea per se is not bad, but maybe with a better cast of characters. I don't know. I mean, as I say, I have it. Actually, my cousin gave it to me. This is why it's. You can see it's in Italian there, and this is one of the few DVDs that I own that I cannot switch the language. So I watched this in Italian. The dub was horrible. That didn't help either. But a really, really, really mediocre movie and a disappointment. Easily the weakest of a great series, but every series had its black sheep. What do we have? Let's go with this. Again, this, for what I can remember, this movie is highly regarded, actually, or at least it's generally liked. I watched it and I didn't like it. I thought it's nothing special. I mean, again, it's not a bad movie, but it didn't tell me anything. And then it's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now, for what I remember reading, this is supposed to be the closest movie to the actual novel. I cannot say if I can be honest. I don't remember much. I read the novel so many years ago. Is this similar? I don't know. I haven't read it again, but I really like Gary Oldman in this movie as the villain because he has a way of being over the top, like it's no one's business. I mean, he's great playing villains in movies. But for what I remember, it was just I just wasn't very interested. Maybe I should just rewatch it because it's been so long, if I have to be honest. But I just remember this being a big, I don't know. And then hearing people like saying like, this is a great movie, this is a very good movie. It's like, really? I mean, as it's absolutely not a bad movie. Don't misunderstand me. I think it's a well-done movie. Of course, it's Francis Coppola. But it's just like, as a Dracula movie, didn't work for me. I mean, I love of course, the 1930 with Bela Lugosi. I absolutely love the crazy Hammer movies from the 50s with Christopher Lee. And that was just like, I don't care. Let's move to the last movie that I can actually show you. And this is going to be interesting because I really wanted to like this. I really tried. Again, I like the first half of the movie. I think it's halfway through when it started to go downhill for me. It's from a very controversial director to me. I mean, controversial, maybe it's not the right word. I have a love-hate relationship with him and his movies. And as I said, I really tried. I love the genre. I love the cast and everything. But at the end of the day, no. I can say that I don't like it. Even though it's a good movie. But again, there was such a hype behind it. And it's like, after watching it, it's like, really? Because... And the movie, it's The Hateful Eight. I really tried. I really wanted to like this. And the moment this movie started to go downhill for me, it's when the characters start killing each other. From the moment Kurt Russell drinks the poison, spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, but from that moment, I think they just it's a very personal opinion. This, I think, Tarantino made the wrong decision on which character should have died or survived. Personally, I think Kurt Russell should have survived. I mean, at least shouldn't be the first one to die. It shouldn't be the one surviving together with Samuel L. Jackson, because there was this whole thing with the letters. I think. I mean, it doesn't make sense if Kurt Russell isn't there to me. I remember this thing of being really disappointed by that whole resolution of that sub story. That was really weird. I mean, for the most part, as I said, I really wanted to like this, but as usual for me in Tarantino movies, they're a big hit or miss. I mean, I think he's extremely overrated overall. I'm not saying he's a bad director, not at all. But I remember, for example, I don't think Pulp Fiction is a masterpiece. I think it's all right. I love Death Proof, for example. I love that movie. I remember watching Kill Bill and enjoying it. I remember dropping Kill Bill 2 for some reason. So, but I'm not the biggest Tarantino fan. But I really wanted to like this because I friggin' love Western movies. I know he's a huge fan of spaghetti Western. I kind of want to watch the Django remake he did. But as I say, I really like this movie up until they start killing each other. Like when they are in the carriage, like talking to each other, all this really weird band of characters. Kurt Russell is a super badass in here until he dies. And one thing I was really scratching my head with this. It's the fact that Ennio Morricone win an Academy Award for this, and that's not a bad thing, of course, because about time. That's what I meant. I mean, really, he won the Academy Award for Eightful Hate for the soundtrack. That's probably like the least impressive soundtrack from Morricone that I've heard. I mean, have you heard his music from his classic movies from the 60s and onwards? I mean, the Dollar Trilogy, like A Few Dollars More, the music, it's amazing in that movie. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, that's a legendary soundtrack. Once Upon a Time in the West, Once Upon a Time in America. One of my favorite pieces of music by Morricone is actually My Name Is Nobody. That theme is such a joy to listen to. And in here, it's like, it's good music, but he did so much better in his career. I think what happened is that the Academy Award staff realized, like, oh shit, we haven't, like, Morricone, he never won an Oscar. He's really old. We better give him one. Oh yeah, he worked with Tarantino, so of course we have to give him an Oscar if he works with Tarantino. I mean, just let me know. I mean, I know some of my friends really like this movie, but I remember when I bought that DVD, the guy at the DVD store was really bashing Tarantino's, like, oh, I hate these movies. Eightful Hate is garbage. And it's like, it's not garbage. For the most part, it's a good movie. And overall, it's not a bad movie at all. But just personally, I thought that it could have been better with a better resolution. But maybe that's a minor flake, but it kind of ruined the movie for me. So, I really wanted to like that. Damn it. What's next? Okay, the next one. It's nothing special as a movie, and that is X-Men Apocalypse. It's just a superhero movie. These kind of things are nothing very interesting because they're all the same at the end of the day. I've been burned on superhero movies from a long time now. Up until Guardians of the Galaxy, I pretty much watched all of them. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. It's the moment when I realized I had enough with these movies because they're all the same. The way they just churn them out, like more than, oh my god, another siren, one after the other, one after the other. I mean, I was really getting tired. I never been very interested in superheroes to begin with. So I don't miss them. I haven't watched them in a long time. My friends are constantly making fun of me because of that. And it's, how can you not watch this? And then they're all talking like, have you watched Deadpool? No, I never cared about the character. I don't care about the movie. Have you watched the series? No, why should I? All of this. And I was like, how is it possible? And all of a sudden I say, but I will watch X-Men movies because it's one of the few Marvel comics that I actually sort of read here and there when I was younger. I was like, okay, X-Men. And I like First Class, Days of Future Past, but then X-Men Apocalypse. I was really not hyped, but I really wanted to watch it, and I was really hoping it would be good. And some people like this. I really didn't like it because I knew the whole thing. Being connected with the movies would have ruined the whole thing. Because the main reason why I don't like it, it's because the Age of Apocalypse is actually one of my favorite comic books. I love it. But that's the whole thing of that. It's an alternative universe. So of course, since naturally now movies they have to be all connected with one another because now we have to copy Avengers, so we have to have 60 movies one after the other and all connected. It all makes sense. So of course the Marvel with Fox, of course they apply the same formula, and of course all these like First Class, Days of Future Past, and all of that are connected. And the next step in the story is Age of Apocalypse. I'll say, but why? It's a different, it's an alternative universe. And Apocalypse is the usual, very generic bad guy who wants to conquer the world for some reasons. I never cared about Wolverine. I never liked him. They reintroduced like Cyclops and Jean Grey. Never been interested in them. The most memorable moment in the entire movie, and that says a lot actually, it involves that what's his name? What's his face? The Marvel's copy of the Flash, Quicksilver. There you go. And it's when he's saving students from around the house with those effects, like it seems he's going really slow, but he's really going fast, and is doing all of this while listening to Sweet Dreams or Make of This. That's the best part of the movie for me, and it's completely useless for the story, I think. Just because it's very funny and I love that song. So, but the rest of the movie, it's absolutely forgettable. I think they completely ruined or ignored the character of Psylocke. I mean, that was very. It's like, wow, that's Psylocke. That's disappointing. And one thing I detest in this. Since the first movie about the X-Men, I absolutely despise the way they portray Rogue. She's not even in this movie. And if you read the comics, she's a big part of the Age of Apocalypse. But the thing is, I absolutely hate the way she's portrayed in this movie. So this whiny little girl, like teenager, desperate because, oh my god, I cannot touch anyone. I mean, they went for the easiest story, like the kind of development for her characters. Because, of course, I grew up in the 90s, in the early 90s, with the X-Men series, where Rogue, she is a one-woman army. She is a tank. She is a beast of a character. Because she's absorbed Miss Marvel, I think. If I remember correctly. Yeah, I think so. But the point is, she's super strong. She's cocky. She's awesome. She should have, like, the southern accent, like in the cartoon. It was nothing like that. And in the Age of Apocalypse, I like the idea that Magneto is the leader of the X-Men. Rogue is his wife, I think, if I remember well. I love all of that. It was nothing like this. I was expecting it, being nothing like the comics. And also the fact that it was like that, I don't even know her name, that actress who portrays Jean Grey. She's terrible at it, actually, but since when Jean Grey defeated Apocalypse? I mean, no. If I remember well in the comics, Magneto destroyed Apocalypse, but who cares? But oh my god, it was such a disappointment. And after that, I'm not going to watch the next X-Men movie. I know I suppose it's about the Dark Phoenix saga. Yeah, that's a big deal, but I'm so not interested in this kind of movie. I mean, there's a lot of commercial here around in London about the Justice League, and I don't give a fuck about it. So yeah, superhero movies. That's a really, I'm absolutely not interested in them anymore from a long time. But X-Men Apocalypse, it's kind of the last nail in the coffin for me. Oh, next, that is a good one. I have a list here. That's why I was reading. As I said before, like Tree of Life for a long time held the first place for me as the most boring movie I saw in a long time. Recently, this very, very important title has been actually taken away from the Tree of Life. There's a new movie that to me is the most boring one I watched. And the thing is, the hype was massive for this. I mean, everyone was talking about it. I was really, really excited about it. I couldn't wait to watch it. Both me and my brother were like, oh yes, finally we're going to watch it. The Red Turtle. Oh my god, that's a boring movie. I mean, and especially now, like, since the first day, everyone is praising the movies like it's the best movie of the year, the best of the month, the best of the day, the best of the hour, the best of the millennium. I mean, no, it's not. It's not bad. Again, it's not a bad movie. I mean, visually, it's very good. But my god, it's so boring. I still remember like it was yesterday. I was in the theater. A guy on my left was sleeping hard. I mean, snoring. It was like this. Snoring without, like there was no tomorrow. On my right, my brother, he was really trying not to sleep. But, you know, it was like this. Like, basically 3/4 of the movie. So I was really, really struggling not to fall asleep myself. But that movie doesn't help the fact that it doesn't have any dialogue, with the exception, I think, at the beginning when the main character just starts screaming, like ah, for a while, and that's it. There is no music, and that's a huge problem throughout the movie. So the only sound, with the exception of like the storm and all of that, it's the ocean, and for like 1 hour, it's just like. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, kill me now. It's so boring. And all those like symbolism and messages that are so plainly obvious that even a sleeping chair wouldn't get it. I mean, the whole thing, the circle of life. I mean, of course. I mean, if you want a good movie about that, watch The Lion King, not this thing. And one reason this movie was pushed really hard, it's the fact that apparently they slapped everywhere. This is the next Studio Ghibli movie. It's not Studio Ghibli. I think they just helped with the production or something. But it's not that Miyazaki or whoever did this movie. This movie was made by a Dutch animator or something, who is now very popular because of that movie, of course, because for some reason it was really successful. But I think it's the most boring movie I saw since The Tree of Life. And I think The Tree of Life was much less boring than this. So probably this is the most boring movie I saw in the entire 2000s, which is not bad. Well done, Red Turtle. Oh my god, such a boring movie. Someone's texting me. We're almost there. Just 3 more. The next one, I think it's a good representation of critics really don't know what they're talking about. This movie, like, swept away like the Academy Awards. It won a bunch of them, and it's such a silly movie. I couldn't believe it when I watched it. I was like, are you serious? And that is The Artist. Oh my god, what a silly movie, and that's considered a masterpiece. I mean, it's such a stupid movie, but it's a black and what the hell? It's a black and white. It's a silent movie. So, oh my god, they discovered silent movies. But it's such a silly movie, so forgettable, and it was such a big deal. But of course, because it was slightly different from all the rest, it was praised like crazy, but it did nothing new. It's just, as I said, it's the perfect word to me. It's just a silly sort of musical. That's it. It's not a good movie at all. I mean, it's not bad either, but it surely doesn't deserve all the acclaim and awards it won. Of course, a movie it's not defined by the awards and everything, but it's still an indication of like what the industry wanted to push. So I was really baffled by this movie. I was like, oh my god, really? I think it won like Best Picture, maybe Best Actor. They don't even talk. They're not very good actor, because if you watch a real silent movie from like the 20s, those movies are really good because they're visionary. They're plenty of imagination. It's a completely different style of acting. So I mean, watch a movie such as Metropolis, Nosferatu, or what else, like The Phantom of the Opera, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, The Passion of Joan of Arc. I mean, those are really good movies. They really stand the test of time. But it's not just like making a movie in 2017 silent with our like CGI, our style of acting. It's just a mess. So insanely overrated, and I really didn't get it. I mean, as I say, it's not bad, but it's such a silly and forgettable movie. And next, we got the bad one. I mean, all of these that I mentioned and talked about it up until now, they're not bad. I don't like them, but for one reasons or the others, but they're not necessarily bad movies. This one was terrible, and that is Alone in the Dark by Uwe Boll. I mean, oh, that was so bad. I watched it just once randomly together with a friend, because I played a game, the original game, on PC ages ago, and I know about the series since the 90s and everything. I was like, oh, Alone in the Dark. And I didn't know there was a movie, because back then I didn't know about Uwe Boll, silly me, and I never heard of him. So I was like, oh, maybe it's a sort of horrorish mystery movie. Could be interesting. Oh, it's such a bad movie. It's terrible. Of course, it has nothing to do with the game, but I get it if maybe they want to try an original take on the story or something like that, but not like that. That is a terrible movie. Not even in the way like so bad that it's good, because there is a fine line in there. And Uwe Boll, it's no, these movies are so bad. For some reason, I have a morbid curiosity for In the Name of the King, but I don't know if I want to waste my money, even if I just need to pay for the shipping, not for the movie, but it's still probably wasted money. I mean, I can buy a coffee for the price of the shipping of a movie. So, no, but Alone in the Dark, stay away from it. It's very, very bad. Definitely watch the hilarious review by the Nostalgia Critic. It's one of his best, I think, together with Linkara and Spoonie. Oh, that's hilarious. But the movie's terrible. Not just because it has nothing to do with the game, which, I mean, you're making a movie and completely ignoring the source material completely. So that's weird. I mean, excuse me. But, I mean, a movie like Doom, for example, I mean, it has something to do with the source material. That's an awesome movie, by the way. But this, it was completely a mindfuck. And also, honestly, like, it's bad actor, cheap effects. It's just a bad movie. I mean, and I'm saying it because I'm not picky with my movie at all. And was just like, whoa, this is garbage. And finally, the last one. This is painful. because I'm a huge fan of the source material, and I never, never, never wanted this. The Last Airbender. Ah, I mean, this came out, I think, close to the end of the, if it maybe close to the end of the series or something, I don't remember, but or just personally I finished watching the entire series. But I remember when they announced it, I was like, why? I certainly don't need a Last Airbender movie. I mean, the 3 seasons of the show are fantastic. Just watch those, and then watch the first 3 seasons of Korra, because the fourth one is not very good, except the ending. So I was really like, this is not going to be good. And why, of all people, Shyamalan? I mean, I have nothing against him. Or at this point, he's almost an internet meme with his movies. But I was like a friend of mine, he never watched the show, said, I'm curious about it, let's go watch it. It's like, if you want, okay, but I don't think it's a good idea. We watched it, it was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible from beginning to end. But just simply because it's just like he ignored the source material again. I mean, I still remember the scene with like the various type of bending arts, like especially, I mean, the firebenders. I remember they kind of needed a active fire in order to bend it. It was like, since when they can just generate fire? The earthbender was amazing. There was this guy doing all these sort of movements to then move like a tiny rock. That was ridiculous, of course. So, no. That was a terrible movie. I haven't watched it since when it was released in cinemas because I refused to watch it again. And it's almost an insult to such a good series. I love that cartoon. I mean, the Avatar series like Last Airbender and Korra are so good and fascinating. Then, of course, there's the old whitewashing here and there, different races and all of that. It was weird, but I didn't care about it. But they're also such like weird characters and very bad choices. Like one of the most emblematic to me was like Sokka, because in the show, in the cartoon, he's almost a comic relief. He's always like saying something funny. In here, it's so intense, so serious, and in the worst possible way. The same thing with Aang. I mean, for the most part, he's like a very happy-go-lucky kind of guy until it needs to be serious. In here, again, it's all like very dramatic in a very bad way. So. That's one of my least favorite movies. I mean, nothing will probably top Alone in the Dark, but Last Airbender was a ginormous and announced disappointing movie because I knew it was going to be bad, because how can you top that show? It's so good. And again, we didn't need it. It was really a really sad evening. I was like, oh no, why are you doing this to me? So there you have it. 10 movies, a really long video, I realized, but I just love to talk about these kind of things. 10 movies that I don't like. I gave some explanation of why I don't. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments or in a video response. I would be very interested to know some of your movies that you cannot stand for whatever reason. So that's it for me. I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching and take care.